All City of Oklahoma City employees have the responsibility to make the work environment at the city free of discrimination, harassment, and retaliation. This training module on non-discrimination and anti-harassment will explain what you need to do to meet that responsibility. The city's policy prohibiting such conduct will also be explained, as well as how violations of this policy can be reported. This training module has been updated in 2021 to include new revisions to the policy published in Human Resources Bulletin 21-02. At the bottom right of the screen, you can see an arrow button. When it turns green, you may advance to the next slide by clicking on it with your mouse. The updated city policy has the following new requirements for non-discrimination and anti-harassment training. All employees must complete this training once a year, and newly hired employees must complete this training within the first 30 days of employment. Completing this training module satisfies these training requirements. To receive credit for this online training, you must be logged in under your username. You must view the entire module. You must complete and pass the associated online test. Once you successfully pass the test, you will receive a certificate of training through email. By completing this training module and passing the associated test, you are certifying that you have completed this training on non-discrimination and anti-harassment, and that you understand the requirements of, and your responsibilities under, this policy. After completing this module, you should be able to understand the city's prohibitions of discrimination, harassment, and retaliation. Identify behaviors that are considered discriminatory, harassing, or retaliatory. Describe the complaint procedure for reporting policy violations. And, describe your responsibilities as the city employee, under the policy. The City of Oklahoma City is committed to providing a work environment that is free from discrimination, retaliation, harassment, and any conduct deemed inappropriate for the workplace. Human Resources Bulletin 21-02 is the city's policy prohibiting discrimination, equal employment opportunity-related harassment, including sexual harassment, general harassment, and retaliation. This policy outlines types of prohibited behavior and the procedures for reporting and investigating such behavior. The city prohibits conduct, whether intentional or unintentional, that results in discrimination or harassment of anyone because they are a member of a group, class or category that has been defined as a protected class, which is also known as an EEO consideration. This is a list of EEO considerations in city policy which we will review further in a moment. First, let's look at discrimination. Discrimination can be defined as treating someone less favorably or unfairly because they are a member of a group, class or category that has been defined as an equal employment opportunity, or EEO, consideration. City policy prohibits treating someone differently based on one or more of these EEO considerations. Such behavior will not be tolerated. Employees have a right not to be discriminated against or harassed because of their association with one or more EEO consideration. This means we cannot treat anyone less favorably or unfairly because of their race or skin color, because of their religion or religious beliefs, because of their sex, including their gender, pregnancy, sexual orientation, or their gender identity and/or expression, because of their national origin, because of their age, because of their disability, whether mental or physical, or because of genetic information we may have, including family medical history. Answer the question below. Select from the options provided. Gender identity can be defined as the gender in which a person sees oneself. A person's gender identity can be the same as, or different from, their sex assigned at birth. Gender expression is how a person outwardly shows their gender identity. This can include physical expressions such as clothing, hairstyle, or makeup. It can also include social expressions such as their name or pronoun choice. City policy prohibits discriminating against or harassing anyone because of their gender identity or gender expression. Answer the question below. Select from the options provided. Employment decisions can never be based on or influenced by EEO considerations. All decisions regarding things such as hiring, promotion, job assignment, discharge, layoff, discipline, training, compensation, or any other term or condition of employment, must never be based on any of the EEO considerations. These decisions can only be based on an employee's knowledge, skill, ability, qualifications, job performance, and the needs of the city. Discrimination can also occur when conduct toward an employee is based upon an EEO consideration, and interferes with an individual's work performance, or creates a work environment that is intimidating, hostile, or offensive. This is called hostile work environment discrimination, and is prohibited in the city. Examples of hostile work environment discrimination include using racial slurs or expressions, making offensive comments about someone's religious beliefs, making offensive references to someone's sexual orientation, gender identity and/or expression, and making inappropriate references to someone's age. Consider the following situation. May's co-workers are mean to her, do not help her learn her new job, and exclude her from their discussions because she is Asian. What kind of policy violation have her co-workers committed? Create a positive work environment. To prevent discrimination, do not make any disparaging or offensive comments regarding or related to any of the EEO considerations. There is usually not a business reason to discuss any of the EEO considerations at work. Sexual harassment is another form of discrimination that is prohibited by city policy. Quid pro quo harassment occurs when someone in a position of power, like a manager or supervisor, offers to trade an employment benefit, such as a better work assignment or training opportunity, in exchange for sexual favors, or threatens to withhold the benefit if the favors are not given. This behavior is strictly prohibited by city policy. The other form of sexual harassment occurs when the harassment creates a hostile work environment. This can happen when verbal or physical conduct toward an employee is unwelcome, is of a sexual nature, and it interferes with a term or condition of employment, or creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive work environment. Examples of hostile environment sexual harassment include making offensive remarks about someone's looks, clothing, or body parts, making sexual comments or innuendos, asking intrusive sexual questions, telling sexual or lewd jokes, making unwelcome compliments or using terms of endearment, using foul or obscene language with sexual terms, discussing or passing rumors, whether true or untrue, of a coworker's personal relationships or sexual conduct. talking to coworkers about your sex life. Additional examples include inappropriate staring or leering, touching someone in a way that makes them feel uncomfortable, such as patting, hugging, or intentionally brushing against someone's body, impeding or blocking movement, making sexually suggestive gestures or sounds, continuing to express social interest after being informed that the interest is unwelcome. Further examples include sending, forwarding or soliciting sexually suggestive emails, texts, letters, notes, or images, displaying sexual images or other sexually explicit content, showing or sending pictures of one's private parts. City policy prohibits employees who are in a romantic, sexual or domestic relationship from being in a position where one would have the authority to supervise, appoint, remove, discipline, evaluate the performance, or otherwise influence the employment of the other. Such relationships are expressly prohibited between supervisors and employees they supervise or who are otherwise in their chain of command. Any employee involved in such a relationship with another employee is required to immediately report such relationship to the department CEO officer, division manager, department director, or the Labor Relations Division of the Human Resources Department. As we have seen, sexual harassment can take many different forms. Sexual harassment can occur between any individuals at work. This includes between a supervisor and employee, between employees and non-employees, and between individuals of the same or different sexual orientation, gender, and gender identity and/or expression. To prevent sexual harassment, do not touch others at work. Don't talk about sex on the job. Avoid jokes, words, phrases and gestures with sexual meanings. Don't flirt at work. Keep compliments casual and impersonal. Respect the personal space of those around you. If someone is engaging in inappropriate behavior that you find offensive, clearly inform them of that. And, if someone indicates that your conduct is not welcome, stop. The updated city policy now specifies that general harassment that is unrelated to EEO considerations is also strictly prohibited. General harassment is conduct that is unwanted, verbal or nonverbal, which is abusive, obscene, threatening, insulting to another person, or otherwise inappropriate for the workplace, and the conduct has the purpose or effect of creating a work environment that is offensive, intimidating, degrading or hostile, or interferes with, or adversely affects, an employee's performance. Examples of general harassment include the following forms of recurring rude behavior: inappropriately ignoring someone, intentionally excluding someone from normal workplace conversations, or other activities that make them feel disregarded, or unwelcome, responding to normal interactions with frequent anger or sarcasm, repeatedly interrupting someone when they are talking, or any other disrespectful conduct. Examples of general harassment that can be considered bullying or abusive in nature include yelling or cursing at someone, ridiculing or mocking, acting aggressively towards someone, making threats, such as to fire, demote, or give a poor review, unjust, harsh and constant criticism, singling someone out in front of others in a negative way, spreading false information or rumors, sabotaging or impeding a person's work, attempting to destroy someone's confidence or self-esteem, or calling someone names. This can also include other behavior that is patronizing, intimidating, humiliating, belittling, insulting, demeaning, or undermining. Everyone must work together to create and maintain a work environment that is free of workplace harassment. Harassment will not occur in a place where everyone treats others with respect. Respectful behavior facilitates a more positive and productive work environment. Oklahoma City policy prohibits retaliation. Retaliation is a materially adverse action taken against an employee for bringing a complaint of, or participating in an investigation related to, discrimination, EEO-related harassment, sexual harassment, or harassment in general. A materially adverse action is anything that might well deter an employee from engaging in protected activity. All employees are prohibited from engaging in retaliatory conduct, and any such conduct will be grounds for disciplinary action, up to and including termination. Now let's look at the complaint procedure. Each department director has designated an EEO officer for their department. This is the primary person to receive and investigate complaints, issue fact-finding reports, and work with the HR department on all EEO matters. Discrimination, harassment and retaliation may be reported to any of the following: department or division EEO officer, a supervisor not involved in the situation, division manager, department director, or directly with the Employee and Labor Relations Division of Human Resources. The city has also established a hotline for reporting discrimination, harassment, and retaliation. Complaints may be made by calling 405-297-2567, and leaving a message. A member of the Employee and Labor Relations team will follow up with the caller if contact information is provided. Complaints may also be made anonymously. Complaints of discrimination, retaliation, EEO-related harassment, or sexual harassment may also be made with the State Office of Civil Rights Enforcement, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, or with the Court of Law. As we have seen, city policy prohibits discrimination, harassment, retaliation and other inappropriate workplace conduct. When violations of this policy have occurred, management will take prompt action to prevent such behavior from reoccurring. Depending on the severity of the conduct, this may include corrective action, such as counseling, training, or coaching, or disciplinary action, such as a reprimand, suspension, or termination. Remember, it is not your intention that matters, but the impact that your behavior has on others. While you may perceive your behavior to be friendly and harmless, a coworker may find the behavior offensive. Different people can perceive the same thing, very differently. Therefore, we should always try to consider how others may interpret what we say or do. This concludes the presentation on non-discrimination and anti-harassment training. If you have any questions about this policy or this training module, please contact the Employee and Labor Relations Division of the Human Resources Department. If you would like to open and download a copy of the city policy that was referenced in this training, click on the image on the right. If you are ready to take the test to receive proof of this training, click the Take Test button. Or, to exit this training module, click the Close this presentation button.